Why am I even here? So I realize I've been a lot in my feelings lately, and I think it's the time of year because the first week in June of 2017 was our retreat and then ordination from seminary. Now, last week I wrote about why I will continue to use the title of Reverend even though I'm no longer a Christian. And I did answer it towards the end of the writing, but when I sat down to answer that question, I intended to be quick and concise and to the point. Perhaps even explain the importance of personal choices and freedom of expression, and why it's important for me to no longer play by the rules set by Christian patriarchy and all that stuff. Instead, the question asked more of me, and I accepted it to go deep and explore the meaning and sacredness of my ordination as an interfaith, interspiritual minister. And I remember the Sunday my family and I flew home after my ordination, and I sat on my front porch and I just cried. I was openly sobbing while attempting to explain why I was crying to my husband and why I was having such an emotional release. And they say that how you live after a transformative experience reflects its real impact on you. It hasn't been perfect, to say the least. Even with all the inner work I've done and continue to do to release the limiting beliefs indoctrinated into me by my Christian patriarchal upbringing, I still doubt myself. My self-talk is always there to remind me that I'm unworthy, that I'm really not making a difference, and that there are many other people more capable of shepherding people through deconstructing than I am. And that's just from this morning while I was just trying to drink my coffee. But in all seriousness, there are messages that attempt to play in a loop in my mind every single day. And most days I can easily dismiss them, but other days they really do threaten to overwhelm me. Sitting down to answer that question about why I am still a reverend, it broke something inside of me. It was as if I needed to be reminded that the work I did to claim the space I'm in not only mattered, but it's been very much worth it. So writing the answer to that question about why I'm still a reverend, it also reminded me how much I adore writing, truly writing from the heart. That isn't to say that each writing isn't meaningful and written with much thought and care. My writings often arise from either a news story or a life experience or a memory, and I hear, oh, that's a good teaching moment for my followers. Then there are writings that really invite vulnerability front and center. And that is what writing about my title as Reverend has offered me. It's offered me vulnerability. And it shows up when one feels courageous enough to let it emerge. And that does not come naturally for me. I decided a long time ago that there are parts of my life that I will not share publicly. Now, I admire those who do, whether you're sharing your health struggles or your grief or everything in between. I read or I watch your life's journey and I hold that space between here and there. But that level of vulnerability, it feels foreign to me, even adversarial. But I'm being vulnerable about why vulnerability isn't natural for me, at least not at this point in my life. Maybe that's because I'm a survivor of child abuse, but I see many of you with similar life experiences who are very vulnerable in your stories. Perhaps it's because I have been promised things and then was betrayed, or perhaps being vulnerable in the past allowed others to exploit it to overpower me. Or perhaps it's just who I am. I don't know if I'll ever know, but as someone committed to continuing to do the work of healing the places that does not serve my highest good, perhaps one day I'll find out. But I have to be okay with it if I don't. But when I wrote about why I am still a reverend, even though I'm no longer Christian, I shared about working with my dean to answer the question about why I'm here. And I could not let that memory go because we did a lot of work together to not only answer the question on why I was in seminary, but how I'm going to show up in my life. And that question just kept hanging over me until now. Days after writing about it, I see those words dancing on the ceiling right before I fall to sleep. And it's one of the first things I think about when I awaken in the morning. So I sat down early one morning this week and I started to write about why are you here? And I want to share that with you now. So there are days when the answer to that question flows freely. I know who I am and look forward to the day ahead as I attempt to balance a full schedule of home care, personal struggles, an awakening garden, and showing up for you, you beautiful souls. But I think the reason why I'm making this video is because of the other days. Ones that I now realize are arriving far too frequently, and those are the ones where even the medication I take to keep anxiety at bay doesn't work. The ones where I spent too much time the day before listening to the impending collision between the global workforce and AI. The ones where Trump's lies play on repeat in my mind. The ones where another bullet point of Project 2025 gets checked off. The ones where the proverbial chisel in Trump's hands chips away at long fought for human rights that many considered established law, now lying in rubble around his swollen ankles. The ones where I worry about the future my grandchildren will have in a world that is becoming increasingly unrecognizable. The ones where I think, what does it matter why I'm here? Because here isn't here anymore. And these thoughts threaten to overwhelm me and paralyze me. So in the wee hours of the morning, sometime between 3 and 4, I awaken and I take a deep breath, and with the resolve that I can do it one more day, I toss the blankets off my body and I set my feet on the floor. And I quietly reach for my phone and my notebook and my water because I am intent on leaving that room without waking up my husband and my dog. And then I make my morning tea. It's still dark outside, so I make my way to my second favorite writing spot, which is the couch in the sunroom with my blanket and my pillow. My first favorite is my porch. I'll pause and I'll take a deep breath and I'll do a meditation to open my heart. I'll do some type of reading and then I'll listen to some music. And when I'm ready, I'll open my computer and begin. I'll admit that some mornings it's startling to feel my body responding to my strong will, but other days it's as if I'm carried forward by a force that I cannot name, but know exists within me and throughout the world. Some call that force God. I refuse to limit the infinite possibilities of what she is. All I know is she is inextricably bound to who I am. She beckons me onward, silencing the tape playing in my head. You know, the one saying none of this matters. No one will read this. Someone can say it better. And changing the question to why are you even here? But she assures me that I do matter. That the people who need to see this will see it. That I am a gifted writer with the ability to see through the dust to spotlight what is relevant to those deconstructing from Christianity. She changes the question back to why are you here? Which is just a gentle reminder that I have answered this question time and again. And the answer does change slightly with each passing year as I continue to heal and grow and life circumstances shape the woman I am becoming. And as I write this, a memory of Joyce Meyer comes up. And I'm in the usual audience, packed with Christians, dutifully sitting with our notebook and Bible in our laps. Joyce says, I might not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm no longer where I was. It's something like that, and I know some of you remember it. Except I don't count my success by souls I supposedly led to God. I count my success by those who thank me because I helped them see the path away from that God. Those comments and messages of gratitude trickle in like the first drops of rain splattering on the sidewalk. They may not be the tsunami of revival that Christians pray for, but individually they matter more than any mega pastor's boasting of the souls they have saved. They matter to me. They matter to the one writing the comment, sharing their journey away from church. They matter because it affirms who I am. It's why I'm here. And that is holy work. So then I'm going to take my tea and my dog who's now on the couch with me. I'll go to my garden. I'll head to the greenhouse and check on my seedlings. I'll share pictures with my daughter. I'll bring in that day's harvest to share with my family. I'll listen to my son as he makes his plans to move into his new home. And I'll tend to the house and I'll water the flowers and I'll touch the people I love because that too is who I am. That too is holy work. And if that's you, remember that is indeed holy and that is enough. The answer to that question of why you're here is sacred and meaningful. And if you need this reminder, you matter too, beautiful soul. Now you can find this writing, Why Are You Here, on Substack, and be sure to follow me on all my social media platforms so we can stay connected.